Welcome everyone. My name is Gayle, and in this practice we're going to be focusing on transitions. The transitions between poses, which are like a mirror for how we transition through life. So we're transitioning all the time, from when we were born and we were babies to when we were kids and everything was fun, and then when we became teenagers and we kind of thought we knew it all, and then adults where we had all this responsibility. And just time keeps marching on and changes keep happening that are beyond our control. So how can we transition with a feeling of grace, a feeling of ease, a feeling of serenity, and a feeling of intentions, like having an intention, and being mindful throughout all the various transitions that we go through in our life. So let's start by closing our eyes and just taking a moment to transition from the busyness of our daily lives into a place of clearing out our minds, being quiet, and just focusing on our breath, moving in and out slowly and gracefully through our nose. On the inhale, you want to let your whole body fill up with the breath, with prana, with life-giving energy. And on your exhale, you want to just let go and settle back to earth. Feeling the pull of gravity, feeling a sense of being grounded. Really open up to the inhale, to the fullness of life. And to the exhale, to coming back to something that's familiar, something that helps us to feel grounded. We need both of those energies to balance out each other and to help us to move forward and to accept the transitions for the joys that they bring, the hardships that they bring, and be able to learn something from whatever transition we're going through. So just softly open your eyes. We're going to start in a standing position. So make your way to standing. And start with your feet about hip distance apart, more or less parallel to each other. So that would mean if you drew a line from the second toe to the center of your ankle, those two lines would be parallel. Because our feet are all shaped differently. Some people have really narrow feet, some people have wide feet. So you just want to have like this feeling of your feet being more or less parallel. And if you need to turn your feet out a little bit, that's fine. But just kind of aim and see what it feels like to have your feet parallel. On your inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, bend your knees, scoop your arms down like you're gathering up the scent of the earth and pulling it up through your body, then rotating your palms, reach up toward the sky. And we'll just keep doing that. Lowering down, inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, kind of returning to earth, feeling that earth, that grounded earth energy, and releasing that energy out into the universe. So if you want to add on, this time when you reach up, see if maybe you can lift up onto your toes and slowly lower down and release. And just go back and forth. We'll just go back and forth like maybe 2 more times. Reaching up on your tiptoes if you want. Grounding, remembering that we're earthbound, and also remembering that there's lots of possibilities all around us. And let your arms relax by your sides, and take your hands on your hips and just start to move your hips in circles. Keeping your knees soft and bent, just letting the movement kind of grow. So maybe first you start with just the hips, and then you kind of let your whole body get into it. And then we'll reverse the direction of the circles, starting smaller and then kind of spiraling outward, getting a little bit bigger. Good. Come back to stand, and we're going to work a little bit on our shoulders because we can tend to hold tension in our shoulders. So take your left hand to your right shoulder and imagine that you're grabbing the big muscles right at the top of your shoulders, the trapezius, so that your fingers are kind of gently pressing into the muscles. Then keep your right arm straight and just start to circle your shoulder. Forward, up, and back. So that as your shoulder moves, you're going to feel the muscles underneath your fingers move. And you just want to press into them gently but firmly. So not with so much tension that your body's fighting this, but more that you can kind of ease your way into the muscles, notice what's there, and just move nice and softly and slowly. So you're giving yourself a little massage. And releasing some of the tension that comes when we have this forward head position. I'd release your arm and just notice like how the shoulder we just worked on feels compared to the other one. So now let's work our other shoulder. So take your right hand to your left shoulder, grab onto those lats, give them a little squeeze, and then we'll start to rotate the shoulder. Back, down, forward, and up. So that you feel the muscles pressing into your finger pads. Again, not squeezing so tight that you create more tension, but just in a way that you feel like you're giving yourself a gentle massage. Should feel pretty good. And just see how much range of motion you have in that shoulder. A couple more rotations. All right, and then just kind of shake it out a little bit. Then interlace your fingers behind your head and take your thumbs right to the back of your occiput, right along the ridge of the skull. And just press in gently with your thumbs and lift your chin up and then lift the back of your head up so that your head is moving underneath your thumbs. Giving yourself a little gentle massage here. And you can walk your thumbs down a little bit so you're pressing into the back of the neck a little bit lower. And just move slowly, lift, always think of lifting, so lifting the chin and then lifting the back of the head. Nice. Now let's interlace the fingers, bringing the base of the palms together a little bit more, and stretch, keeping your shoulders back and your elbows back. Stretch over to your right, like you're trying to touch your right elbow towards your right hip. And come back to center, and same thing other side. So keeping the elbows back. Think of touching your left elbow to your left hip, which is impossible, but it just gives us like a focus, a direction. And just glide slowly from side to side. Try and stay grounded through both feet. So you really have to ground a little bit more into the foot that you're leaning away from. And feel that nice line of fascia, getting a gentle massage by the stretching action. Nice. Come back to center and bring your arms into a cactus position. And now pick your right knee up and twist to the right, and maybe just tip your elbow a little bit. See if you can tap your knee or tap towards your knee. And come back to center, step your right foot down, pull your left knee up, and we'll twist to the left. Twist as far as you can first, and maybe just a little gentle tap. And if you fall, like I just did, no big deal. So as we continue to move, maybe we'll find a little more balance as we transition between like holding one shape and holding another shape. So we'll just do one more time each side. Find your twist first and find your tap second. Trying to keep the elbows back as much as you can. So really twisting from your core. Good, come back to center. And again, just kind of shake out your arms. Bring your feet a little wider than hip distance. And we're just gonna do a gentle swinging motion. So as you swing to the right, tap your left kidney. As you swing to the left, tap your right kidney. So you're letting your hand kind of ride up to the kidney area, which is our energy center and represents water, the free-flowing energy of water. And just go back and forth a couple more times. It's getting everything kind of loosened up, getting the blood flowing. Good, so let's come back to center. We'll come to the front of your mat in Tadasana mountain pose. And it might be nice to have a couple of yoga blocks handy and a blanket. If you don't have those, don't worry about it. But if you do have them, this could be a time to grab them now and have them handy so that you can reach them when you need them. So on your inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, hinge at your hips. So right at those hip creases and forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Place your hands down and step your feet back into plank. Think of pulling your low ribs in, stretching your chest forward and your heels back. So you feel a stretch front to back and a lift from underneath. And lower your knees to the floor. Walk your hands back. Rotate your hands so your fingers face your knees and start to rock back and forward. It's really important that we pay attention to our hands and give them some TLC, stretch out the fascia on the inside of our arms and all the way into the palm of our hands. And this is one way to do it. And then flip your hands so the top of your hands are on the ground. Spread your fingers apart and just rock a little bit forward and back. So you might not have as much movement here, but we're stretching out the top of the wrists, the top of the hands, which is equally as important. And these might feel a little bit tighter even. So just go smoothly and mindfully. So as you transition from one part of the stretch to a deeper part, just notice how that feels and be mindful so that you don't overdo it or underdo it. Good. Now come back to the palm of your hands on the floor, fingers spread nice and wide. Bring your wrists right underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and start to sway your hips from side to side, almost like a figure eight kind of swaying of hips. So they move back and up and out to the other side. Let your body just kind of sway with this. And come back to a neutral position. So where your back isn't super rounded or super arched, kind of a flattish back. Stretch your right leg back and keeping your belly lifted, lift your foot up. So it's right about hip height. Then reach your left arm forward. We'll just stay here for a couple of breaths, finding a little balance. And bend your right knee, bend your left elbow, and straighten your arm and your leg. So bend your elbow, bend your knee, straighten, bend, and straighten, bend. This time reach back, maybe find your foot, kick your foot back into your hand as you lift your chest forward, and release your foot, come back into tabletop. And just take a little time to sway your ribs from side to side. Nice, come back to center, stretch your left leg back, engage your leg, lift it up to about hip height, reach the right arm forward. And we'll just hold here for finding our balance. So noticing how you have to use your core a little bit to not sag into the pose. So you want to keep a feeling of being lifted. And bend your left knee and your right elbow, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, bend, straighten. This time when you bend, reach back for your left foot with your right hand, kick your foot back and your chest forward. Finding a nice balance there. Good, release your foot, come back into tabletop, and we'll do a few cat-cows. So as you inhale, arc your heart forward, lift your tailbone up. As you exhale, round through your spine. And just glide forward and back. Nice, slow, intentional movements, transitioning from a big arched spine to a big rounded spine. couple more times. And come back to center. Stretch your right leg back again. Then stack your hip and parallel the hip. So your toes go from pointing down, out to the side, transitioning from a little bit of an internal rotation to a big external rotation. And just gliding back and forth. And the next time your hips are stacked, bring your right leg out to the side, lower to the floor, and start to move a little bit back and forth, around in circles. Just listening to your body, moving through the transitions of even just a little bit of movement, noticing how that feels. You can bring the inner edge of your foot to the floor. You can try and roll your foot out, trying to bring the outer edge of the foot down. You could lift your toes up. So all kinds of little different movements that you can do here. And pick your leg up, bring it all the way across, looking over your left shoulder at your right heel, and push out through your right heel. And pick your leg up and swing it all the way forward so your foot comes right by your hand, and start to stretch your knee forward and stretch your hips back. Gliding forward, really trying to get into the dorsiflexion of your front ankle. And just glide forward and back a couple more times. And bring your hand to the inside of your foot. Pick your leg up, swing it back around all the way over to the left again. One more stretch out through your heel and come back into your tabletop position. Same thing other side. So stretch the left leg out, lift it up, externally rotate, internally rotate. So notice my hip is staying more or less in the same place. I'm not swinging my leg behind me, or I should say my foot, well, the whole leg. I'm not swinging it back to open it up. I'm working from within the joint. And then reach your leg across to the left. Look over your right shoulder. Press out your left heel. And pick your leg up and swing it all the way out to the side. And again, you can play with different positions of your foot. Either the inside edge down, the outside edge down, heel down and toes up. And just find some gentle movements. And pick your leg up again, swing it all the way back behind you, pushing out through your heel. And lift your leg up, swing it all the way forward, coming into a low lunge. And start to press your knee forward and glide your hips back. Alternating, transitioning between dorsiflexion in your ankle, big hamstring stretch in the back of your leg. Next time you're forward, pick your leg up, swing it all the way around to the right, pressing out through your right heel. And come back into tabletop. Shift your hips back into child's pose. You can let your forehead rest on the floor and reach your fingers way forward to find a nice long stretch through your spine. Take a couple breaths here, feeling your back lift up and your front ribs press into your thighs. And your side ribs expand out to both sides. And take your right hand and thread it underneath your left arm. And you're going to kind of roll your left shoulder toward the floor and then open it up. And roll it down. And open it up. So we're just doing little movements here. to open up like our right shoulder, our right arm, so many places that we're opening up. Just notice what you feel. And then slide your right arm out, reach it forward. Slide the left arm underneath. And same thing here. Think of lowering your right shoulder down and then lifting it away from the floor. Just little gentle movements here. Then slide your left hand back forward. On your inhale, round up. And on your exhale, glide back. A couple more times. Inhale, round forward. Come a little further forward. And exhale, glide back. Inhale, round forward. This time lower the thighs all the way down, shoulders back, chest forward, cobra pose. And just stay here for a couple more breaths, pressing down into your toes, lifting up and forward through your heart, and drawing your shoulders back so the shoulder blades start to come more together onto your back. And if this is like too much, you just come out of it a little bit. So you don't want to feel too much crunching. You don't want to really feel any crunching in your low back. Good, lower all the way down. Tuck your toes. Press up and back to downward facing dog. And in down dog, you can bend one knee at a time, just like you're walking out your dog. Look at your ankles and make sure that your ankles aren't caving in, that your inner arch isn't caving in. And keep your hips reaching away from your fingertips. So you get more weight into your feet and a little less weight into your hands. So down dog isn't just about working out the shoulders and the arms, it's working the whole body. So nice long stretch through your back. And you can bend your knees as much as you need to. So think of your back being long and straight, not rounded, as a priority over your legs being straight. Some people have tighter hamstrings than others, just like some people have more mobility in other places than other people. Then step your left foot in a little bit, sweep your right leg up. Reach back through your right toes. And pull your heel to your hip, draw your knee into your chest, step your foot forward, and rise up crescent lunge. Again, find a little cobra action here in your crescent lunge. And we're going to transition from crescent lunge to twisted crescent. And sweep the back arm forward, and we're going to transition into warrior two. So reaching out between your fingers, and then back to crescent. So the back heel is going to lift, and twisted crescent. And we're just going to transition back and forth between these three poses. Crescent, twisted crescent, warrior two. And just feel like if you can stay balanced and grounded and graceful between all the transitions. Next time in from warrior two, we'll add a reverse warrior, come back through warrior two, up into crescent, twisted crescent, and sweep back up to crescent, warrior two, reverse your warrior, come all the way forward again. One more time, crescent, twisted crescent, back to crescent, warrior two, reverse your warrior. And come back into warrior two and straighten your front leg. You can adjust your feet to any distance that feels comfortable for you. So with the legs straight, first reach back through your back arm and then reach forward through your front arm. And just continue to reach back and forth. Feeling the transition from being almost pulled back to being pulled forward. And the next time you're forward, lower your hand. It could be to a block or your leg or the floor, coming into triangle pose. Gaze up at your fingers of your left hand. Think of squeezing your right glute, pulling it more towards your midline, So more towards the left side of your mat. And rooting down through both feet. Lengthening from your tailbone out through the crown of your head. And bend your front knee, reach your top arm forward. Reach from your fingers to your toes to your fingers, and come on and back up. Warrior two, reach back, reverse your warrior. And come back through warrior two, sweep the back arm forward, coming back into crescent, and then lean forward as you reach your arms out to the side, float your back leg up. A variation of warrior three, like an airplane pose. Keep the belly lifted, shoulders lifting, back leg lifting. And slowly step it back. Reach your arms forward and up. And make your way back to downward facing dog. So really, in just about any pose I'm in, I'm always moving at least a little bit, kind of exploring all the different nuances of whatever pose that I'm in, whatever transition I'm going through. So from your down dog, step your right foot in a little bit, reach your left leg up, stretch it way back, then heel to your hip, knee to your chest, step your foot all the way forward, crescent lunge, rise up. Open up twisted crescent, back through crescent, and open up warrior two. Sweep your back arm forward and up, crescent lunge, twisted crescent, bring the back arm forward and up, open up warrior two. Couple more times. Sweep the back arm forward, lift the back heel up, crescent lunge, open up a twisted crescent, and sweep the back arm forward and up, coming through crescent lunge and into warrior two. One more time. Sweep back up, crescent lunge, open up, twisted crescent, sweep the back arm down, forward and up, coming into warrior two, and then we'll add reverse warrior. So reach back, reverse your warrior, come back through warrior two, sweep the back arm forward, lifting the back heel up, crescent, twisted crescent. And just continue through this, maintaining smooth transitions so that you feel like you're moving with a feeling of grace and ease, power and softness, just kind of gliding along with your breath. Last one, reach back, reverse your warrior, and straighten the front leg. And reach back through your back arm and reach forward through your front arm. It's almost like this little tug of war going on, transitioning between forward and back, but maintaining a sense of groundedness and balance. Next time, from reaching forward, lower your top hand, lower your front arm to a block or the floor or your leg, open up, triangle pose. Root down through both feet and think of drawing energy from the earth up into your pelvis. From here, bend your front knee, reach your top arm all the way forward. Side angle, come on back up. Warrior two, reverse your warrior. And sweep the back arm forward, coming back into crescent lunge. And then we're going to float up into airplane pose, like a variation of warrior three. So bend into your front knee, shift your weight forward, lift the back leg up. Keep the back leg lifted, the shoulders lifted. And maybe little, like, kind of bending the knee, floating the arms back and forth. Try and keep the back leg nice and lifted. And then reach back through your toes, come back into crescent lunge, and back to downward facing dog. Just give yourself a nice long stretch. And step the right foot in a little bit, reach the left leg up and back. And hug your heel to your hip, your knee to your chest, step your foot all the way forward. And keep coming forward. You can use a block here. We're going to come right away into half moon. So stack your hips, stack your shoulder, keep the back leg nice and lifted. Reach your arm up and maybe reach your gaze up. Try and keep the shoulders nice and open, both legs strong. Feel your breath moving in and out. And lower your top hand down, lower your gaze down. Step back to downward facing dog. Other side, sweep your left leg up. Hug your heel to your hip, your knee to your chest, step your foot all the way forward, and right away come into half moon. So you can use a block, you don't have to use a block, it's up to you. Keep the back top leg, or the top leg lifted and strong. Maybe try gazing up toward the sky. And find your balance here, so we'll hold this for a couple of breaths. And bring your top hand back down. Step back to your down dog. Stretch your hips way back. And walk your feet forward. And come into a squat. Lowering your hips down. Reaching forward with your arms. And maybe letting your head hang. Lower your hips all the way to the floor. And slowly transition from seated to lying on your back. Hug your knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side. Widen your feet for happy baby. And think of pressing the soles of your feet up toward the sky. And continue rocking gently from side to side. Release your feet or whatever part of your leg you were holding. Bring your knees together. And with your palms out to the side, back of the shoulders resting on the ground, slowly twist over to your right. Keeping the knees together as best you can. And let your legs lower to the floor. Turn your head to the left. Let your whole body relax here in this gentle twist. Let your head turn as fully as it's able to your left. And notice how you might feel a little stretch on the right side of your neck. And we'll just stay here for a couple more breaths. And squeeze your knees in towards each other. Pull this left hip down to the ground to bring your knees up. And continue moving all the way across, so you're twisting to your left and turning your head to your right. And again, letting everything relax here. Notice if you twist your head if you turn your head or twist your head as far to the right as you can without forcing it, but just being mindful. Notice how you feel, probably feel some kind of stretch on the left side of your neck. And see if you can breathe into it and relax into it. See if you can feel your body transition into a more and more relaxed state. And listen to any messages that your body is sending to you. Now pull your right hip back to the floor to bring your legs back up. Widen your feet as wide as the mat. And slowly twist your knees to the right and back through center and over to the left. just gliding from side to side. Noticing if both sides feel pretty balanced or if one side feels a little tighter or a little more open. And as we move through life, we encounter different experiences. Like, you could call some of them accidents, and we get injured, and that sets up a pattern in our body. And our body adapts because it's infinitely wise. But then at some point, something shows up. That compensatory pattern maybe becomes a little bit more apparent, and we notice, oh, this side is tighter, this side is weaker, this side is stronger. So it just gives us an opportunity to create change, to bring what's out of balance back into balance. Next time you're on your left, your knees are to the left, just stay here. And if you like, you could stretch out a little bit through your right knee, and at the same time pull your right hip back towards your right shoulder. So you create a little extra stretch on the front of your thigh. If you want, you might already have a big stretch. I don't know. Not in your body. You're in your body, so it's your privilege to adapt and modify to whatever suits you in the moment, feeds your spirit in the moment. Bring your knees back up and twist over to the right. And now maybe get a little extra stretch on that left quad by pressing your left knee forward, pulling your left hip back. Come back to center, hug your knees into your chest. One last time. Maybe even lift your head up. And then slowly stretch out for Savasana. Just letting everything spread out and relax. Let your feet flap open. Let your palms rest facing upward. Notice how much of your back is on the ground, touching the earth. So hopefully, if your legs are straight on the ground, there's a little bit of space underneath your low back, but not underneath the bottom ribs. So the bottom ribs are nice and relaxed. You can even take your hands on the front ribs and just kind of gently massage them downward, giving them the idea to kind of rest downward rather than pop upward. And I'll stay here with you for about a minute or so, maybe 5 to 10 breaths. And you're welcome to stay longer on your own, or you just make it a shorter Savasana. I would encourage you to spend at least like 3 to 5 minutes in Savasana, because it's always good to balance effort and surrender, effort and ease. So balancing your Savasana with your practice where we were moving between poses, playing with transitions. So again, feel free to stay here a little bit longer. Otherwise, if you like, you can start to stretch out through your arms and legs, through your fingers and toes. And bend your knee and gently, slowly roll onto your side. And pause here for this bigger transition between Savasana, complete rest, and getting on with your busy day. So take a moment in this transition on your side to observe the changes that have taken place from this practice. And feeling your breath move fully. And very gently press into your hands to come back up to a comfortable seat. And I really appreciate you taking, hair is a little bit of a mess. So taking this time to spend time with me doing yoga, to explore your body, to experience transitions and all the lessons that we can learn from them, and noticing whether it's difficult to transition or pretty easy, or one side feels different than the other. But it's always a learning experience, and that's a big part of what yoga is about. It's an inward journey, like getting to know ourselves at deeper and deeper levels. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I would love it if you would leave a comment, leave a request. Let me know how you feel after this practice. Let me know anything that you would like me to explore through an online class. And I hope you have a great day.